Hi guys again. So after the last video I got a lot of messages asking me how I did this. Let's try it again, shall we? So what we start with is just a plain video of me pretending to throw a key. As you can see, I don't have the key anymore. I just had it initially and then dropped it on my lap. So I could sell the effect more. I'm pretending to hold still. Actually, I'm holding still to pretend like that's a slow motion shot. It's gonna be blurry anyway. This is in 120 FPS in 180. This is just a key hanging from the from a small thread, and I've got the green screen behind it. And as you can see, this is the same exact spot for camera, just because I wanted lighting too much, and this is quite important. Also, keep in mind I may be on the hindsight a little bit too close to the green screen. If I was a little bit further, maybe there wouldn't be so much of a spill right there. But anyway, let's go to After Effects. Right click on both clips, click on Replace After Effects with After Effects Composition. Okay, so these are 4 audio tracks. I do not need that. This clip is already slightly scaled just because I had poor framing and there was a lot of junk. By the way, to show all keyframes, press U and you can see every keyframe that was used, and press it again to hide it. So first of all, we drag this to the bottom, we drag this to the top. Let's see where I started to throw the key, and bang, this would be our first frame. So first thing first, what I'll be using is the FX console from Video Copilot. Super useful, highly recommended. Press Ctrl Space and type in what you want. And the first one would be a key light, which we will use to key out our green. Also, I'll add the mask to get rid of everything else. This is fairly stable. If it was more wiggly, I would have to remove the threads manually, but I think this will work for now. We can see that the key is not perfect, so we will have to play just a little bit with the screen matte. So for this shot, let me see the screen matte. So I have to clip black just a little bit and clip white quite a lot, to like 40. I mean, it totally depends. Actually, using the key with a reflective surface is suboptimal because you can always see some green spill here and there. So if you can, just don't use reflective things. After that, we'll add the matte choker, which you can see makes a slight difference, but it's pretty good. I'm gonna feather this quite a bunch. I think I was playing around with this one. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, I'm sorry. With that, yep. So without matte choker, it cuts away just a little bit of the key, but in shots like that, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So let's go through, by the way, with B and N, you create the work area, which After Effects will constantly play the footage. Okay, we can see that the mask is covering the key just a tiny bit. Let's feather the mask quite a bit. Use the F key to feather. Should be good. Yeah, okay, that works. Okay, so now in my opinion, by far the hardest part, which is animating the key position in such a way that it looks natural. First of all, I'm going to do it with a 3D layer. So I'm clicking this option, which makes the key layer a 3D layer, with which I can move the layer from and towards me, which I will use right here. So let's make a keyframe. Let's make a start position. You can use the scale for the same effect in that case, and it wouldn't really matter. Maybe the path animation would be slightly different, but it's just the way I prefer to do it. Remember, in After Effects there are 1,000 ways to do one thing. Okay, I created the keyframe by accident. Let's move it just further. Okay, so that looks like it's in proper place. I think I will also animate rotation. And let's try right like so. We don't want to overdo it with the rotation just because the light would not match. Now we try to match the hand. Let's say it would be somewhere around here. Okay, so now we have to move it closer to us. To move it quicker, just press Shift. To move it slower, press Command. We want this to go closer to us, and we want to rotate it just slightly. Okay, now it's all about making it look good. I'm gonna ease these keyframes. I'm gonna ease in this keyframe. Let's see how this looks. Okay, so if you don't see these handles after you click the Easy Ease, just right click on the keyframe interpolation, and change all of them to Bezier. So that way you can manipulate every piece of it by hand, and you can direct the way that these lines go. And these lines layers path. So you can see that it doesn't go straight from this point to this point anymore. It just goes in slight curve, which looks way better and way more natural. And also you don't have to change the position right here of the keyframe. You can just grab it right here and move it, and the keyframe changes with it. And back here we'll do almost the same thing, but we're gonna slightly move it forward so it's still moving, slightly rotate it so it keeps progressing through the stale point. Easy is in. Oh, let's just do easy is. So the difference between these guys, if you don't know, it's just the way the curve of the change will be approaching that keyframe. So if the change is coming from the left and you want it to be gradual only from the left, just pick easy is in. If you want a gradual change coming from the right, just pick easy is out, and from both sides easy is. Okay, so let's just play around with these keyframes. Okay, so after we have our keyframe, this is what it looks like. This is looking ugly, but bear with me. The next thing I want to do is to do the zoom, which we're gonna animate. Position P, hold Shift, click S, which would add the scale. Do a keyframes for both of these. Okay, let's start it about here. Let's do it. Easy is out. Bum, bum, bum. Let's do it here. The zoom will be about 180. That's fine. And change it to right about here. Now, here we're gonna copy these keyframes, select them all, right click, keyframe assistant, time reverse keyframes, so it just flips them. Okay. This is what it looks like. Okay, this is just a little too slow for my taste. I'm gonna hold them to, yeah, this is looking okay, but it's still a little too harsh. So I'm gonna pull these together. And bring them back out. We're gonna do the same thing here. Okay, see what it looks like. Let's add camera lens blur from here, and this should be 0. From here to, let's say, about here. Okay, let's copy over this keyframe. Here. Bring it back down to 0. Let's create an adjustment layer, place it just above these zooms. Add radial blur, change it to zoom, change center from here to here. Amount 0, here 0, because we're not zooming anymore, and let's do the max here above 50. Okay, so I misclicked that. 0, let's hide it. Okay. So let's do easy is in, easy is out. Let's see how that zoom looks. Just a tiny bit. Now let's double this layer. Let's remove the, oh, maybe let's keep the blur. Let's mask the hand. So let's create a mask, really rough mask around where my fingers would be. Let's animate the path. I'm sorry, forgot to turn on the motion blur on that one. Okay, let's see. And that's about it. Feel free to play around with the keyframes or whatever you want. Just try to make it as natural as possible. Okay guys, hope you learned something. Consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya!